When I was there, I was presenting with flip sheets. I made a PowerPoint now. I will be talking a bit about proof of existence and how you can use that into, well, web logs. Move a little bit. Well, I'll start with proof of existence. I'll explain a little bit on how Bitcoin Gravity does that, a bit on Block Trail Hackathon, how it works, how I use the webhook of the API, how client-side can verify that an article is genuine, and you can save a local copy and, well, use cases, we'll see that later on. Proof of existence is mostly like signing hashes of a document or an article in blockchain. Bitproof, I think, is one of the few that uses op-return, but most of them don't use op-return. And let's see. This is, for example, a Bitcoin transaction with the use of op-return, and then you see here in use angel-headed visitors. Just to put it in there. But if you look at, for example, Bitcoin Gravity, Bitproof, no, they don't use op-return, by the way. That's rather spammy for the blockchain, and they base the hash on the output addresses, and not they don't sign a little message to it. They make their message by generating output addresses. As you can see here, this is, for example, a transaction with a little bit of metadata in it, but as you can see, it is really spammy on the blockchain. This is one transaction to, I think, 1,000 outputs. And you can see the result of it. This was an image, by the way.
Why do many outputs?
Because you don't need space. You don't have that much space in one input, one output.
Okay,
you need multiple outputs.
Okay.
Well, then there was the Block Trail Hackathon. Built something with Bitcoin, they said, anything, and you can use your API. Now, well, I use those.
Because which problem do you solve?
I'll get to that. One of the things you'll see with most blogs or articles is that people will edit it afterwards. For example, you read a news article, but how can you prove that everyone read the same article, that it wasn't edited halfway? Well, you'll hash the article, and instead of publishing it just the hash, you'll publish the hash in the blockchain. For example, most famous one of Satoshi, the Times, just for a bring of check and bill off banks, the Genesis block text. With, well, how can you prove that you own a newspaper? Well, you get a certificate of authenticity with the Genesis block. But how can you really prove that that article existed at that moment in time? Well, you hash it, and it gets published under every article you create, and then you can see the transaction in the blockchain. Well, blockchain.com, blockexplorer.com is crappy, so we're going to use Blocktrail.
But by the way,
Yeah, this is they had problems on testnet, but this was, well, a faster way to.
I guess this is why you didn't win the award, or not?
Probably.
You said you may use the Blocktrail API.
Okay.
No, it was not mandatory. But well, if we look for that same transaction in the Blocktrail Explorer, then we'll see it here, and then you will see here in op-return signed. I gave it a little prefix news. I need to change that maybe a little bit for maybe for licensing, that you can see what kind of license the article has. That's maybe a nice thing to do. But then you can see the article.
Do you have affinity address or
No, it's testnet.
Ah, ah,
And then loop. Then we can verify the article that we have in the hash here against the article in the block explorer of the hash in the block explorer, so you can prove that article existed at that moment in time, but you can not publish before you sign. So you must write the article, know the hash, and sign the hash in the blockchain, and on the event that you sign, that is the trigger that publishes the article in itself.
So in your system, you sign the hash and then the article can publish automatically.
Yeah. You sign the hash, and the blocktrail API picks up the address I monitor, so where I sign against, and that will sign in itself back to the webhook, and that will publish the TXT to the corresponding article. What it gives funny stuff you can do. You can make RESTful stuff. So you can search articles by hash or articles by TXT. And that's a funny thing.
You mean that the blockchain gonna have a news site that you can find later on this news in your...
Yeah, you can find news by articles. That's by block address. So you have Bitcoin address, you follow that, people sign hashes against that, and then you can get the articles through a RESTful API back, and you can get it based on TXT or hash.
and could you also make the hashes so that, for example, using Namecoin, the hash itself is purely, because now you use the hash and you have a prefix and some things behind it, but that if you have a Namecoin-like system,
Like for DNS.
yeah,
Yeah, that's possible.
okay.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that. How can I prove that the server that you sign against, where its web server is? And I was thinking about making one output from the address you sign that gives purely the IP address of where the news is hosted. And if you change that, well, if your host gets down, then you can sign another.
We have kind of a proof of IP.
Well, you need to find a server, and I think that the signing server, the address to which you sign, should probably propagate also the location of where the articles are stored.
Do we know Freeman's?
Yeah.
Is that an idea?
Yeah, I've been thinking about it.
Brain?
Freelance.
Free,
I've also been thinking about just using the Patreon API and putting it all in Patreon, but well, for now I think this is just basic blogging software, and it's okay. Well, that means you can search articles by hash or by TXT, but also I've made it, gave it a little JSON response, so that's nice. If I've made a basic reader app, so when you scan a Bitcoin address that has a news server attached to it, it will look up all transactions and extract all the hashes from the transactions that are signed with hop return, and then you will just query the RESTful API with those so you can get the proper articles. And then you can just add JSON before it, and then you get like plain JSON response. Well, the client can do verification on itself as well. On the website you saw the little button with the hash. If that one is red, that means that the article of the that you see and the hash that is published on the chain, they don't match, so you know that article has been edited or tampered with or whatever. And well, if you read an article and you think I want to keep it, you can save a local copy. Well, because you've got a RESTful JSON API, so that's no problem. Well, and why would you use this? It's impossible to edit articles in any way. Rectifications to articles cannot be made in the article, they must be made as an article in itself. So you can't just maybe typos, well, you have to republish, don't do typos. And it's like proof of existence meets proof of publishing, because nobody knows the hash of the article you wrote before you sign it into the blockchain. So you have, well, a basic concept of authorship over your work, and you can have something to point to if somebody just copy-pastes your articles, that you can say it's there. Also, it's a matter of integrity. You cannot edit articles, period. Nobody can do that, and you cannot know if people, how many people read an article before or after editing. We should be done with that. Just republish if you are mistaken. And the funny thing is, you can do following of a Bitcoin address. Like I said, you can monitor all transactions that go in and out, and the hashes are published, and then you can query against the RESTful API from the servers. Well, who would use this? Probably newspapers or journalists, maybe. For development blogs, or if you want to sign code into a blockchain, that would be also useful for public announcement, but also for research papers, because we've got a lot of copyright issues and self-quoting in the scientific community here in Holland. If they could probably properly sign their work, well, we don't have that shit that much. Where can you get it? Well, it's a basic blog mod for a Laravel 4 website. And a reader app that's, well, at the moment it's just, you scan a Bitcoin address and it will obtain the articles. And the signing script, and well, we sign, that's the problem at the moment. I was working on being able to sign in the application itself. And for example, you don't see this one on the main page, because it will not be published until signed, and it's not signed. But you get, you've got like a basic block creation system, and the hashes will be published here. And I was working on automatic signing, but well, that didn't work. So it was probably also a good idea to do the signing of articles not on the server you run your blog on. But I was trying to do it for the demo. Effectively, you should sign.
Michiel, did you think of also using it for other purposes? Because from distributed version control, it's for example what you already said. It's nice that you can prove the history of a certain version using hashes, but it's also interesting if you can make a hash which is the delta of different versions, so that you don't have to distribute the whole file again, but only the delta.
Yeah.
And that way,
then you store changes.
Yeah,
effectively. Yeah.
because that way, because now it's only interesting for knowing the truth, to say that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it's very useful, but I mean, it has use possible side cases. But I'm not sure if you have thought of that.
People are noticing.
You want to make this mandatory in photo swap. So you don't have a photo of a block drumming somewhere in the newspaper. You see, hey, this was Russia. Hey, this is Kiev. Hey, this was Gaza. This one.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, but it also works, the application I'm working on, also on an Android application, and then you'll make pictures and they will get based in code. But they will stick with, you still have the EXIF data. So you'll hash the entire picture with EXIF data and location data in a hash, and then if you publish that, the picture is still the same picture, but it is hashed against the blockchain. So I don't think you need to know the deltas from that, because if somebody just like cuts stuff on and republish it.
But I know that
Can't see the-
distributed version control systems also use hashes to efficiently distribute the versions.
Yeah, true.
And I mean, it's a different thing, but maybe. I mean, that's the question if you have.
Yeah, I think it's probably possible, but I was also looking like things like version control. But if you go spamming the blockchain with any modification, then I don't think the reason is good enough. You should like create an article or create source code or create whatever, and when it's done, you should sign it in the blockchain, and not keep like whole version control based on the blockchain. Because well, in effect, then you'll get the same kind of outputs we saw on the spammy thing.
Yeah.
That's like 1 edit, 2 edit, 3 edit, and yeah, then you get like people that really don't like spamming. You see, for example, here, this is Coin Secrets that reads all the op return signed messages, and well, the news ones are mine, and people are wondering what they are. So people are watching. Can't ignore them. And if you do that too much, they'll start complaining like, why are you spamming the blockchain? So it still needs to be used responsibly, and if you do that for version control, you probably get a lot of entries each day in the blockchain, and doubt that people will like it.
You should answer them. Do the transactions. Well,
Yeah.
the blockchain should be robust against
What
that, right?
should we say?
If the blockchain is not robust against that, then this is an attack mode.
What should we say to the people?
This news about that mystery Bitcoin conference in the Caribbean. Yeah, there was a conference going on. It's like the Bilderberg for Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Paul's interviewing Rudy Meester
Yeah.
and making 4 days tonight about it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't know. Yeah, but Bruce Fenton, if I'm right.
And Bruce Fenton is hosting the event, yeah.
Build work on it. And well, you see that probably there. Oh, here we go. And that's probably, well, the most simplest explanation of how to use return. Because in fact you create a weird output. And that signs the articles and all that. The whole thing. Are there questions? Probably. Questions?
The hash, is it just the op return just contains the hash?
Yeah. It creates the hash, and for the moment I use the news double prefix. But well, I still have space to do something more than just declare that it's new. So on the hackathon, I was talking to some people, and they were saying, yeah, you should probably do licensing or category, and well, there still is room enough to accommodate that. So I'm still working that out a little bit.
So
So if someone finds a hash in the blockchain, you can just Google it and then they'll find
Yeah,
it.
you probably can find it, or just look up in the Block Explorer where the new server is,
Yeah.
being the first signed message from the signing server.
They also confirmed this afternoon they are going back to the 80 bytes. So we have more room
Really?
available pretty soon. Yeah, it was confirmed 5 hours ago.
Instead of 40
Yeah.
bytes.
Yeah.
What is it?
So I have to buy a new hard disk for storage space.
No,
it's
it's
just a few bytes.
It's
There's
not-
no return value with
if I would sign a
this
million
afternoon.
of these messages, it would be 40 MB. So it's not that much.
So you solve the problem, making documents, hashing it,
Yeah.
making a transaction of it. Yes?
Yes.
Bitcoin transaction, so it's time stamped
Yeah.
and it has an address.
Yeah.
So somebody receives
No, not somebody. It's one fixed address, and that's
one fixed address.
yes, it's one fixed
Okay,
address.
then I
Everyone
understand.
keeps signing against that address, but that address makes one transaction from itself, being the location of the new server. In this
Okay,
case,
then I
it's
have to check again to understand.
in this case it's my own server. I don't know.
So from a hash, how do you get this one of the... Okay, I had a different experience with Bitkassa. We presented here some, we are looking for other things. And they generated an editor for a message. We hashed it, and they did something else, and that generated an address where you...
Yeah, that's the whole thing. I mean, like when they are spamming the blockchain.
Okay, and you
That is
have a
the
solution?
No,
that
no,
you-
it's not just solution. It's just like the proper way to do it, and people just don't do it. Nobody uses up return. Only.
And the op return has the possibility
Yeah.
of what you...
Op
Okay,
return
that solves
is-
that problem.
Yeah, op return is introduced in I think Bitcoin 0.9 to generate a little bit metadata to a transaction. And before that, people used this kind of constructions where they generate the addresses based on the return they want.
Yeah, okay.
And in fact, you cannot spend any of these. All these transactions are in fact gone.
Yeah, the money is gone.
Yeah.
I did one message with a zero, with nothing in the message.